everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Film Finders. You know me, I like a good rummage around in a charity shop or a second-hand shop or a rummage on any of the online second-hand stores like eBay, Vintage, Depop, anything like that. But today's episode was a little bit different. Occasionally I have a look around what's on Facebook Marketplace locally within sort of a 5-mile radius. I ain't travelling too far unless it's something that's absolutely dirt cheap and I can't turn it down. But yeah, I probably have a look about once a week, maybe what's on Facebook Marketplace, and it's very rare anything pops up of any interest. But a couple of weeks back, a gentleman that's about a mile, maybe a mile and a half away from where I live, had posted up on Facebook Marketplace 3 bag loads of DVDs, and he just wanted rid of them. So he put a few photos up and you couldn't really tell what was in the bag. The only thing I knew was there was 160 titles split over 3 bags. And off a couple of the photographs I could see there was some stuff there worth having that would go into the club box, or maybe I could have sold for a couple of pounds on eBay and put it into the club pot. But when I decided that I was going to go pick these up, I quite quickly realised that there was more in there than what I bargained for. This gentleman either didn't know what he had, which I find strange considering some of the titles, or he just didn't care and he just wanted rid of them, which I would probably lean to the latter, that he just wanted rid of everything. The way his house was set up, he delved straight into the whole streaming setup. He had a nice computer set up in his living room, nice TV set up. This guy had obviously got into the whole streaming thing, which I get, you know what I mean? People don't want to collect this stuff anymore, they just want rid of it, and if you've gone 100% into streaming, then yeah, I mean, why would you want this stuff lying around and cluttering your house up? But for me, it was an absolute paradise, sort of like digging through those bags. And yeah, out of 160 titles, probably about 110 of those was absolute shite that I personally don't want. Someone may want them, you know what I mean? It's not my cup of tea. There was some run-of-the-mill action stuff and run-of-the-mill horror stuff, loads and loads of chick flick kind of films and crappy sort of early 2000s comedies. It's just not my bag. It's not my cup of tea. But there was some stuff in there that obviously was from his collection, and he just thought, balls to it, that can go as well, and that's what we're going to have a look at. There's quite a bit, like I said, 50 or 60 titles, and out of these 50, 60 titles, some of it's going to stay in this collection, some of it will go into the club collection, some of it will go on eBay. We'll try and earn a little bit of money back and we'll put it into the club pot. So let's go over and have a look what I found. So we'll have a dig into the first pile. These are in no order at all, they're just as I'm picking them out, and some are just generic titles, but when I get to something interesting we'll have a look at it properly. So the first one, Dave's favourite film, The Goonies. No, it's not Dave's favourite film at all. Dave absolutely hates this film. He said it's way too noisy, not enough going on. Personally, I love it. Nice little one, but I've got the complete set of this. Which one is it? This one, the original miniseries. Nice event TV from back in the day. There's been not much event TV there's ever been as good as V, I don't think. That's always worth going back and having a watch. One of my favourites, and the DVD actually holds up quite well. It's Willow. Great fantasy flick if you've never seen that. Another great sci-fi film that's quite slow paced, but I absolutely adore it the way it looks. Harrison Ford in Blade Runner. That's a really good one. Really odd release of The Thing now, as Dave pointed out when he saw this. That's the game cover. So they used the art of the Xbox and PlayStation 2 version, I think, and bunged it on the re-release of The Thing. I hadn't seen that one before, so that was quite cool to see. Not really hard to find film, but an absolutely brilliant film if you've never seen this. Vince Vaughn in a role that you probably never see him in other than Dragged Across Concrete, if you've not seen that. Brawl in Cell Block 99. I was surprised to find this one in here with a slipcase. Really good film. Vince Vaughn, like you've never seen him before, is fantastic in this. And again, if you've not seen this one, check it out. If you've not seen Dragged Across Concrete, check that one out as well, as because they're both bangers. This one was brilliant when I came across this. It's an Anchor Bay release, but when I look on the back it says not for sale, promotional use only. So I guess this was a review copy at some point that someone had got. How this guy's got his hands on it, I don't really know, but it's amicus release on the Anchor Bay. It's The Beast Must Die. If you guys know my love of anything Amicus, or yeah, mine's got a blank. Hammer release. You'll know anything Peter Cushing wise, I am all over it, and this is no exception. I didn't own a copy of this, so that was really nice to find, and goes for about £8 to a tenner on DVD, that one, so happy to find that one in there. A new and sealed copy of Jason and the Argonauts, absolutely fantastic Ray Harryhausen film. I do own the HMV Premium Collection Blu-ray of this, so this will be going in the club box. This was a great find because I didn't own the second sight release that they did of this. There is another release of it that was put out by BFI, I think, maybe, and I personally don't know which is the better scan, but I know these are the two only ways to get a decent quality scan of this film. Day of the Triffids. I'm going to have to sort of do a side-by-side comparison on the two, but another one nice find in the goes between about £8 and a tenner on DVD. That now, this is the best you can get this film. There has never been any Blu-ray release of it. Unlike this one, which there is a 4K release of it, and it's probably one of the best sounding 4Ks I've ever come across. The sound on the 4K is phenomenal. The picture quality is really good, but the sound's great. But a nice edition of War of the Worlds. I had this DVD for years, and then I sort of upgraded when the 4K came out, and I've ended up with another copy of this back in the collection. But again, that'll go in the club pot. And a really weird edition of The Abyss. This is definitely a US import because we never got these like splice boxes like this. So this is a 2-disc edition that came like that. They're like a weird kind of, it's not even a swing tray, is it? It's like the box is split into two. Nice booklet in there. Really good edition. Loads of special features on the back of it. Yeah, I mean, this one will stay in my collection. I do own a DVD copy of The Abyss already, but that's a really nice little find. Quirky edition. So pile number 2. Schwarzenegger's Running Man. No sort of thing about this one. This will go straight into the case of distaste at the club. This is a good film. Doesn't pop up that often. We toyed. We had the idea of showing this one at Film Club for this month because this messes around with time. Timeline. Paul Walker. Sort of came out of nowhere when it came out and just sort of like was a flash in the pan. It didn't do anything. But it's actually a pretty decent film. A decent lineup in it. Paul Walker, Gerard Butler, Billy Connolly, Anna Frail, Michael Sheen. Didn't do anything, but it's actually a decent little film. A film I know absolutely nothing about. Showboat, MGM release on the old snapper case. The reason that I still kept hold of this one, apparently there is no UK release of this. This is a US import. Now I know you're saying, Tony, but this got the letter U on it. It's a sticker. I've never come across that before. So there's a sticker on the back there, look. just whacked over the top of everything, and a sticker on the front of the case. Goes for about 20 quid on eBay, so that was a nice little find. Next up, Gremlins. Again, nothing super rare or anything about that, so that'll go in the club case. Again, the same with this one. The remake of Day of the Dead. It ain't much cop, but that'll go in the club case as well. Same with this one, Land of the Dead. I already own a copy on Blu-ray of this, so that's another one for the club pot. Another one that we could have done this month's Messing Around with Time event was Flight the Navigator. I love this film. This film's brilliant. I own the second sight Blu-ray. They say it looks fantastic. So that'd be another one that goes in the club pot. Back to the Future, the 3-disc set. Well, I think it's a 4-disc set in it. So there's obviously the 3 films of the 4D. The 4th disc is the bonus features disc. There is other features on the discs, but the 4th disc is just straight up features. So that's quite cool. This is where it gets interesting, really interesting. Julian Sands in a Dario Argento film, Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I mean, no Blu-ray of this in the UK. This DVD is the only way to own the film unless you want to step down to VHS. Goes for a tidy penny, 25 quid, thereabouts. Yeah, I mean, why would you leave that in the... You obviously know what the film is. Why leave it in a bag of DVDs? You know what I mean? Unless you just can't be arsed flipping on eBay, or you can't be bothered trading it in at CEX or selling it at CEX or whatever you want to do. Yeah, I'll have that all day long. You know what I mean? If as a freebie. Great film, didn't own it, so this one will stay in here. Poseidon Adventure. And I do own a copy of this one. I own it in the box set that the Cinema Club line put out years ago. And it's the Doug McClure set. Now, if you guys know me, I loved Doug McClure films. I think Doug McClure was massively overlooked back in the day because he has done some absolute bangers. He's done some brilliant films back in the day, and this one is up there with it. It's At the Earth's Core. Again, Peter Cushing in this one. Brilliant little film. And I always like the artwork that they did on these releases. I think this possibly could be out of that set, because I know the artwork on this is the same disc as I have in the big set up there. So yeah, so that was a nice little find. Okay, pal number 3. We're straight in here with 2 great films. I'm always a bit thingy on these. I think it's a flipper disc. Yeah, it's not a 2-disc, it's a flipper, and I'm always a bit dubious with them. But I'll take it because it was in there. Driller Killer and Demon House. Now, I do own a copy of Driller Killer up on the Arrow shelf, but I didn't own a copy of Demon House. In fact, I don't think I even know what Demon House is, so that might be worth checking out, unless it was called something else. I'm not 100% sure. So that was quite cool that one was in there. I really don't like these films, but it's one for the case of distaste at the club. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, another one, a 2-pack on a flipper disc. The first film, Sleep Stalker. Nay, you're alright, lad, you can keep it. Second one, Spontaneous Combustion. Woo, yes! Tobe Hooper film. A Tobe Hooper film that most people don't know. A Tobe Hooper film that I think was a made-for-TV film, but I absolutely adore it. I think it's a brilliant film. I think it's massively overlooked. It's and it's got a decent sort of casting as well. Brad Dourif takes the main part in it as the guy that can self-combust. Really good. Why it's never had a fancy Blu-ray release, I don't know, because most other Tobe Hooper films have been picked up by somebody, but Spontaneous Combustion, no one's ever seemed to have done anything with it. I'd like to see that pop up on a nice Blu-ray from someone. Again, this has been released a million times, but Flash Gordon, one of the greatest soundtracks ever produced. An ex-rental copy of Signs. An old flipper case of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I always dug that artwork. I always thought it was brilliant. The film's okay, but this one was quite cool. I wasn't expecting this amongst all the rest, but a Blu-ray version and a special edition Blu-ray version of Gone Girl. Christ knows who put this out. Maybe just a studio release, but it's an odd studio release. Not my cup of tea, you know what I mean? Probably one I'll try and flip on. I don't even know if it's worth anything, and I've never really looked, not knowing the film really. But it's nice. It looks like it's got some art cards in there and a book, and it looks like it's in a digipack. So that was a cool little fan. Some kind of I think Artisan used to do like Artisan sort of like extreme stuff, but Artisan released Extreme DVD Terminator 2 release on some kind of like, I don't even know. I don't like Terminator 2. I mean, don't swan me in the comments, but by Christ, it's a shit film. And I know people love it and people adore it, but Jesus Christ, the first one's a fucking masterpiece. This was just a piece of absolute action tosh. It's just not my cup of tea. Mission to Mars. I didn't own a copy of this, so I like Tim Robbins, so we'll leave that one in. Ghost Ship. I preferred the original, but this isn't too bad. This is on an old flipper case as well. Didn't own a copy of this, and I don't know why. Because I do actually like the film. James Spader, Kurt Russell. Stargate. This is the director's cut. So that'd be nice for keeping this collection. And a film that I do own on an ex-rental. And I thought VHS was probably the only way to own it. And I really, really like this film, and it's not a film that sort of anybody ever really talks about. It's a Ray Liotta film. No Escape. Really, really entertaining film, like a prison film. Escape from New York meets I don't really know. It's a film where there's I can't even get my words out. Let's read the back. Years 2022, Marine Captain Ray Liotta is convicted of a murder and sent to a ruthless maximum security prison run by the sadistic warden. The prison as the ultimate solution for the more troublesome inmates. This is part of the jungle island where prisoners are abandoned and left to die. The prison has just one rule: it's the survival of the fittest. Robbins must choose who to join. One of the two enemy camps, the outsider savages who live by force and violence, or the insiders, a smaller group of peaceful men led by a father, Lance Henriksen. The fierce battle between the two rival groups for struggle for survival. Robbins must find a way to escape or die. Yeah, prison film. Like I say, it feels a bit Escape from New York. There's some other sort of like prison-y kind of films thrown in the melting pot with it. It's really good. If you've never seen it, check that. And finally, pile number 4. So we've got the first one, Hocus Pocus. Not worth anything, and I do own the Blu-ray of it. A film that I truly love and tanked when it first came out, and this is a nice little release of it. I do own the Blu-ray of it. It's Tron. Brilliant. Was obsessed with it as a kid. I still really, really like it now, but as a kid, wow. I was all over this film. This one was a nice one because I didn't own a copy of it, and I should have done really, because it is really, really good. Richard Burton, Clint Eastwood, Where Eagles Dare, fantastic Second World War film. these were the RoboCop TV show. That's pretty shite, really, but Prism Leisure put them into some kind of like, for every series they sort of mashed them together on a one DVD and did it so it was like an extra film. So RoboCop, that one's called Resurrection. Basically, I think it's 5 episodes just mashed together to make it feel like a film. You can get them individually, these, but this is probably the better way to get them, where everything's been edited together. So instead of it feeling like a TV show, it feels like a cheap mini movie. This one's still a plastic sleeve. Great Escape. A great film, but again, I do own it on the HMV Premium Collection. Probably one of the better remakes that's ever been done. It's definitely up there with the sort of like the 1988 remake of The Blob and things like that. And to be honest, it's probably a bit more entertaining than the original. I know people are going to be screaming at me now, Tony, what you're saying. The original film I love, and I love it for different reasons to the way I love this one. The original one's slow and it's a bit hammy in places, but I love it for it. But this has a different feel to it, and again, I love it for it. The remake of Dawn of the Dead, if you can call it a remake, reimagine, I don't really know. It's the film, it's Dawn of the Dead, you know what I mean? You can see where it is coming from, but it's got a slight more excitement to it. It's really, really good. If you've never seen it, check that out one. And to be honest, what the hell's his name who did this now? It's one of his only good films. Why can't I think of the hell of his name who directed it? I can't even see it on the front because it's white. Well, you know, he's just screaming it at me. He's just done a lot of them tosh films that's on Netflix, like Star Wars, rip-off kind of things. When he just directs a film, it's generally very good. If he writes the script and directs it and produces it and does everything else to it, generally it's shite. But this was just one that he directed, and it is really, really good. This was a good little find in there. Again, I do own a Kino Lorber US import of this, because there isn't a release of this in the UK. Other than this DVD, Enter the Dragon. Enter the Dragon? What the hell am I about? Enter the Ninja. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Again, I'm a massive fan of Franco Nero. The spaghetti western stuff that he did was brilliant. Some of the later sort of like 70s Italian cop stuff he did was really, really good. The ninja films he did were really good. He pops up in loads of other films over the years, and I've always really liked him. But also as well, Sho Kazugi's in this. I'm a massive Sho Kazugi fan as well, and the film's got it's really good, but it's got a really weird score to it. It's almost Benny Hill-like in places, the score. It sort of takes you out of it a little bit, but take nothing away from the film. It is really, really good. So that was a nice little find in there. A film that should have got more hype than it did back in the day when it came out, because I really enjoyed it, and I know Dave really enjoys it as well. Equilibrium. I like Christian Bale in this, and Ty Diggs. Yeah, really, really enjoyable. Nice twist at the end, on the ending of the story. Really, really good. You should check that out if you've not seen it. Another Prism Leisure release. I collect Prism Leisure titles anyway, but Prism Leisure were a big thing on doing 4 release films on 2 flipper discs. And yeah, I own Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko's on this. Another RoboCop one on it. Dark Justice is on the Lawnmower Man I owned anyway, but I didn't own a copy of Capricorn 1, which is a great little sort of, I can't really call it a sci-fi film, but It's up there with conspiracy theorists sort of take on have we been into outer space, have we been to the moon, have we been to other planets, and it's a great little film. It stars O.J. Simpson, that's who I'm looking for. Yeah, so if you've not seen Capricorn 1, that's really good. And a Disney film that I didn't own, it's actually not that bad neither. More newer Disney film, for me, more modern Disney film I'm not generally into, but I think this is around mid-90s, I want to say. 97 maybe, somebody can probably point me in the right direction with it. Doesn't actually state on the back, but it's Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd in My Favourite Martian. I know this was a remake. Well, again, it wasn't a remake, but I think, was this a TV show from the 50s or maybe a film from the 50s, and then it got the Disney sort of magic wand waved over it in the 90s. It's good. I like Jeff Daniels. I like Christopher Lloyd. It's a nice little fun, family-friendly film. So that was it for that part. So, all in all, not a bad little haul. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is out there. If you want it, people are willing to give you it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I had to sift through 160 films just to find that lot. Now, some of that stuff isn't mind blowing, so you can only imagine how shite some of the other stuff is. But it may be the case of, if someone else went through those bags, they'd find something that they liked as well as. It may be a case of the stuff I pulled out, if someone else was to look at it, they would have done the same things I'd done and left it in the bag because it's not what they wanted. So it's great that this stuff's out there. It's great that people are willing sort of to give you it. Because again, I paid absolutely zero for it. Absolutely nothing. All free, all gratis. The guy was just happy to get it out of his house. Now, for the time it took for me to get there and back, probably 10 minutes. Me sifting through it all, 10-15 minutes. Me picking out the stuff that I wanted and going through everything was in there, discs were in there, everything else that was in there that needed to be in there. 20 minutes, half an hour. You've probably done, you know what I mean, best part of an hour, all in all, to get to that stack. And you're probably close to 70, maybe 80 quid worth of stuff for absolute free. You know what I mean? What's not to like about that? I'm always up for a free thing, and it's good to put this stuff into the hands of people that actually want it. You know what I mean? It could have quite easily ended up in landfill. It could have ended up in a skip. A lot of people can't even be bothered taking these to charity shops now, because a lot of charity shops, especially a couple around here, have stopped taking DVD, so they won't even take it off you anymore. So it's going like the way of the book. There was a time, especially around here, where if you tried to take a big bag of books into a charity shop, they didn't want to know, they didn't want to take them because they were just inundated with them, to the point where some cool books have probably been pulped. They've probably just been recycled because nobody wanted them. And I think this is probably what's happening a lot with this kind of DVD, you know what I mean? This stuff could have ended up being thrown, recycled, landfilled. It could have been sent to a charity shop and then it's sat on the shelf for ages. Because what I've took notice of recently is a lot of these charity shops are dating when a particular DVD goes on a shelf, and if it doesn't shift within a couple of weeks, it's obviously coming off. Either A, going back into storage, B, being moved to another location, or C, is probably just being recycled, it's being shredded, which is a shame, because, you know what I mean, there could have been some decent quality films that was worth a couple of quid, have gone through these places and just ended up being destroyed, or, you know what I mean, just thrown or recycled or whatever. So if I can rehouse things, I will do. If I can put the stuff that I don't want into somebody else's hands who would like it, I will do. I won't not nothing for it, you know what I mean? That 2 bag loads of 100 odd titles that's still left. I won't want anything for that. I'll just give it to somebody else. There is a couple of titles in there that we will put on eBay just to sort of get some money into the club pot, and the rest of it will either go into the club library at the club in the case of Distaste, or it will stay in my collection here and I'll use it, or it'll get used for later screenings within the club. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode, and just remember everybody, keep it cult.